Exploration in the Hemlo area began in the 1800s, but with little success over the years. It wasn't until 1981, when geologist David Bell started his drilling program for Corona Resources, that a major discovery was made. A discovery that started the biggest staking rush in Canada since the Klondike Gold Rush.
David was the right man at the right time in an area of Ontario that had seen many picks broken on and off for over a century. His dogged persistence brought Hemlo to the world stage at a time when the Canadian mining industry sorely needed a discovery to stimulate the business of exploration and mining.
The earlier people that explored and prospected the area didn't recognize that this was more in a volcanoclastic environment.
Nell Dragovan was president of Corona Resources at the time of the discovery. She put her trust in David even when they hit a roadblock.
He told me that he had seen an ore zone would then peter out and would be blocked by something else, then would continue on the other side. So I think that gave him the background to realize that just because there was something called a dye-based dike blocking off an ore body didn't mean that it couldn't be on the other side.
Hole 76 found a new zone, which followed my theory that there really is a big structure out here.
It was the beginning of Hemlo Gold Camp, which saw 3 mines developed.
One of them named to honor David.
The mines have been producing for 39 years, with the Williams mine still in operation by Barrick Gold. By 2021, Hemlo had produced over 22 million ounces of gold, with another 3.3 million ounces measured and indicated. David was born in Kirkland Lake, Ontario in 1943, moving to Larder Lake, then Monteith.
I went to a 2-room public school for my full 8 years, no running water, but anyway, I got educated.
David's high school years were spent back in Larder Lake. His introduction to the industry came from helping Charlie Ewell, a prospector friend of his father's.
I had the pleasure of going out to help Charlie at times in the bush. In a way, I enjoyed that. I didn't get paid for it, but I think in the long run, I got well paid for it.
While visiting his sister in Sudbury, David decided to apply to Falconbridge, securing his first job as a nickel miner.
Well, I was just a dirt digger at that time. But I still had a love for the bush and exploration. And I got to know a few of the people in exploration. And they needed a little bit of help at times in the weekend. I'd go out and help them. And as time went on, one thing led to another.
In 1969, Falconbridge sent David to Timmins to open an exploration office. While there, he was told getting a degree was important for his career. David went back to school, completing a 4-year geology degree in 3 years at Carleton University. He then secured a job at Dome Mines.
He rose very, very quickly. And in fact, within a few years, he was running the largest gold project in Canada, Detour Lake. Shows you that as a junior geologist, that they saw his talent.
In 1980, David started his own consulting company, David Bell Geological Services. His first project was Hemlo. It was his exploration background that helped him succeed at Hemlo.
He was a guy who had the ability to picture an ore body because he had worked with ore bodies his entire career. Most geologists have never been an underground geologist, so they haven't seen what David had seen at the time that he discovered Hemlo, and I think that gave him a big advantage.
People liked and trusted David to get the job done.
He was quiet, he was methodical, and he was very honest. He was nice and calm about everything, and I just felt I could trust him. I had really thought about all these majors that had been there before, turned it down. All these companies that had been there probably would have said, no, that's it. But, you know, we said we would explore this property, so that's what we're going to do. And we did.
David's accomplishments weren't limited to Canada. Consulting contracts took him around the world to Europe and South America. But it's David's discovery at Hemlo that had a monumental impact on the industry.
You can't emphasize enough the importance of that Hemlo discovery. It was a major game changer.
The significant discovery at Hemlo reverberated across northern Ontario, creating thousands of jobs and stimulating local economies for over 3 decades, and is still producing. David is most proud and personally touched by the jobs that were created by the discovery.
There's one thing the mining industry did, was that they made sure in the early days that their people were housed. They made a family and they made a community. And I'm glad I'm just part of that.